Picture this, a sprawling mansion with 50 bedrooms, a fleet of supercars, and a personal staff of 100. Now imagine that's just one of Kamala Harris's vacation homes. Sounds impossible, right? Well, prepare to have your mind blown as we unveil the Vice President's secret trillionaire lifestyle. By the end of this video, you'll see Kamala in a whole new light, and it's more luxurious than you ever imagined. From Howard to Hastings, Kamala Harris didn't just attend Howard University, she owned it, and trust me, her time at Howard was just the warm-up for what came next. College is where most people find themselves, but Kamala, she found her power, and that power was going to shake things up big time. Howard University ain't your average college, and Kamala Harris wasn't your average student. She hit the ground running, majoring in political science and economics. But she didn't stop there. Kamala was all about that extracurricular life, chairing the Economics Society and leading the debate team. She even joined Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Talk about a resume builder. But Kamala wasn't just padding her resume, she was laying the groundwork for something huge. While other students were partying, she was interning as a mailroom clerk for California Senator Alan Cranston. She wasn't lounging by the pool. Nope, she was interning at the Federal Trade Commission. Now, you might think that's enough to keep anyone busy, but Kamala, she was just getting started. She also found time to participate in anti-apartheid protests at the South African Embassy and the National Mall. This girl wasn't just talking about making a difference, she was out there doing it. After graduating from Howard in 1986, Kamala headed back to California. But she wasn't done with school yet. She enrolled at the University of California College of Law, San Francisco, better known as UC Hastings. And guess what? She didn't slow down one bit. At UC Hastings, Kamala stepped up her game even more. She became president of the Black Law Students Association. This wasn't just another line on her resume, it was a chance for her to develop her leadership skills and double down on her commitment to civil rights. By the time Kamala earned her Juris Doctor in 1989, she wasn't just another law school graduate, she was a force to be reckoned with. Her experiences at Howard and Hastings had shaped her into someone ready to take on the world, rising through the ranks. Think being a lawyer is just arguing in court? Kamala's about to flip that script. After crushing it in college, she was ready to take on the real world. And boy, did she ever. Kamala kicked off her legal career as a deputy district attorney in Alameda County back in 1990. She wasn't just any rookie lawyer, she was recognized as an able prosecutor on the way up. This girl was going places and fast, but Alameda County was just the beginning. In 1998, Kamala got recruited by San Francisco District Attorney Terrence Hallinan. She became an assistant district attorney and quickly rose to chief of the career criminal division. She was supervising 5 attorneys and taking on some of the toughest cases in the city. Kamala didn't mess around. She developed a reputation for being tough on serious crimes: homicide, burglary, robbery, sexual assault. If you were a criminal in San Francisco, Kamala Harris was your worst nightmare. She was especially focused on California's 3 strikes law, making sure repeat offenders didn't get a chance at strike 4. When Kamala became District Attorney of San Francisco in 2004, she took her tough-on-crime approach to a whole new level. From 2004 to 2006, she nailed an 87% conviction rate for homicides. And for felony gun violations, a whopping 90% conviction rate. This woman wasn't playing around, she was making history. But Kamala wasn't just about locking people up. In her first 6 months as DA, she cleared 27 of 74 backlogged homicide cases, 14 plea bargains, 11 trials, 9 convictions. She was cleaning up the streets and clearing the courts at the same time. Kamala wasn't afraid to shake things up either. In 2005, she created an environmental crimes unit. Yeah, you heard that right. She wasn't just going after traditional criminals, she was taking on polluters and anyone else who threatened public safety. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Kamala faced some challenges in her role. She clashed with Hallinan's assistant over Proposition 21, which allowed prosecutors to try juveniles in adult court. It got so heated that she even resigned from the DA's office for a bit. But Kamala Harris wasn't one to back down from a fight. When she ran for district attorney, Kamala made some bold promises. She said she wouldn't seek the death penalty and would only use the 3 strikes law for violent felonies. This set her apart from her predecessor and showed she wasn't afraid to stand up for what she believed in, breaking barriers. In 2011, Kamala Harris made history by becoming California's Attorney General. She wasn't just any AG. She was the first woman, first African American, and first South Asian American to hold this position. Talk about breaking barriers. Kamala didn't waste any time making waves. When the foreclosure crisis hit, she launched the Mortgage Fraud Strike Force. This wasn't just some fancy name, it was a serious consumer protection initiative that got results. And results? Kamala was all about them. She secured major financial recoveries for California. We're talking $241 million from Quest Diagnostics and $323 million from the Scan Healthcare Network. That's some serious cash for the Golden State. But Kamala wasn't done. In 2012, she took on the National Mortgage Settlement. When the initial offer wasn't good enough, she didn't just accept it. Nope, she rejected it and fought for better terms. The result? $18.4 billion in debt relief and $2 billion in other financial assistance for Californians. That's what you call playing hardball. Kamala didn't just focus on big corporations, she also looked out for the little guy. She co-authored the Homeowner Bill of Rights, which gave strong protections to homeowners facing foreclosure. No more dual tracking or robo-signing on her watch. But Kamala wasn't all about money. She cared about people too. Under her leadership, the California Department of Justice launched the Division of Recidivism Reduction and Reentry. This wasn't just about locking people up, it was about helping them get back on track. And speaking of getting back on track, Kamala introduced programs like Back on Track LA for first-time nonviolent offenders. This wasn't your typical tough-on-crime approach, it was smart on crime. Kamala also took on hate crimes. She established a hate crimes unit to protect LGBT youth. And when it came to Proposition 8, the same-sex marriage ban, Kamala's office didn't defend it. That was a game changer in California's fight for LGBT rights. Senator Harris. Ever wonder what happens when a no-nonsense prosecutor steps into the hallowed halls of the US Senate? Kamala was about to show Washington how it's done. In 2016, Kamala made history again. She became the second African-American woman elected to the US Senate. This wasn't just another politician moving up the ladder. This was Kamala Harris, ready to bring her tough-as-nails approach to national politics. From day one, Kamala hit the ground running. She didn't come to the Senate to play nice, she came to make waves, and boy, did she ever. Kamala focused on issues close to her heart: healthcare reform, immigration, and criminal justice reform. She wasn't just talking about change, she was pushing for it. But Kamala wasn't content to sit quietly in committee meetings. Nah, she made sure her voice was heard. During Senate hearings, she gained national attention for her sharp questioning of Trump administration officials. Remember Brett Kavanaugh's Supreme Court confirmation hearings? Kamala's pointed questions had everyone talking. Kamala's assertive style in the Senate drew both praise and criticism. Some loved her no-nonsense approach, others, not so much. But Kamala didn't care. She wasn't there to make friends, she was there to get things done. And get things done she did. Kamala was a vocal opponent of President Trump's policies. She didn't mince words when it came to his immigration stance or his cabinet appointments. She called them like she saw them, describing many of these policies as harmful. January 2019, Kamala Harris made a move that would change her life forever. She threw her hat into the ring for the biggest job in the land. But why did her White House dreams come crashing down less than a year later? Running for president ain't for the faint of heart. Kamala knew this, but she was ready for the challenge. On January 21, 2019, she officially announced her candidacy for President of the United States. And boy, did she start with a bang. In just 24 hours after her announcement, Kamala tied a record for the most donations raised in a day following an announcement. She was matching numbers put up by Bernie Sanders back in 2016. That's some serious fundraising power. But Kamala didn't stop there. Her formal campaign launch event in Oakland was something else. Over 20,000 people showed up to hear her speak. That's not just a crowd, that's an army of supporters. It looked like Kamala had some serious grassroots support behind her. Then came the debates. In June 2019, Kamala stepped onto the stage for the first Democratic presidential debate. And she didn't just participate, she dominated. She confronted Joe Biden over his past remarks on integration and school busing. After that debate, Kamala's poll numbers shot up. She rose by 6 to 9 points in polls. It looked like she was on her way to the top, but in politics, things can change fast. The second debate in August 2019 wasn't so kind to Kamala. She faced some tough questions about her record as Attorney General. People started digging into her past, and not everyone liked what they found. Her poll numbers started to slip. By late 2019, Kamala's numbers had dropped to low single digits. That's a long way to fall from those post-debate highs, but Kamala wasn't giving up without a fight. Behind the scenes, Kamala had a group of supporters known as Hashkive. They were like her online army, defending her against racist and sexist attacks. But even with their support, Kamala was facing an uphill battle. On December 3rd, 2019, Kamala made a tough decision. She withdrew from the presidential race. The reason? A shortage of funds. Running for president is expensive, and Kamala just couldn't keep up with the big spenders in the race. It was a surprising end to a campaign that had started with so much promise. Kamala had gone from record-breaking donations to running out of cash in less than a year. But in politics, sometimes losing opens up even bigger doors. Kamala didn't let her failed presidential bid keep her down. In March 2020, she endorsed Joe Biden for president. It was a smart move that positioned her as a major player in the Democratic Party, even after her own campaign's challenges. The historic VP pick. Kamala's presidential bid may have ended, but her political journey was far from over. What if losing the race was actually her ticket to making history? The decision that would change everything was just around the corner. Think being picked as VP is just a consolation prize? Not in Kamala's world. On August 11th, 2020, Joe Biden made a choice that would shake up American politics. He selected Kamala Harris as his running mate for the 2020 election. This wasn't just any VP pick, it was a game changer. Kamala's selection was a big deal. She became the first African American, the first Indian American, and the third woman to be picked as the vice presidential nominee for a major party ticket. That's not one, not two, but 3 glass ceilings shattered in one go. But why Kamala? Well, she had the chops. Her experience and political credentials made her a top contender for the VP spot. And after Biden promised to choose a woman for the role, Kamala's star began to rise even higher. Biden's choice wasn't just about ticking boxes. Kamala had shown she could connect with voters. Her strong performance in the Democratic primaries caught Biden's eye, and her ability to appeal to a diverse electorate, especially African American voters, made her a valuable asset to the campaign. The Biden-Harris ticket wasn't just about winning an election, it was about responding to the calls for representation and diversity in US leadership. Remember those racial justice movements in 2020? Kamala's selection was seen as a direct response to those demands for change. When the news broke, it sent shockwaves through the political world. Kamala Harris, the same woman who had faced off against Biden in the primaries, was now joining forces with him. It was like a political plot twist that nobody saw coming. And then came election night. The tension was high, the stakes even higher. When the results finally came in, Kamala's reaction said it all. She called Biden saying, "We did it. We did it, Joe. You're going to be the next president of the United States." That call became one of the top tweets of 2020. It wasn't just a celebration. It was a moment that would go down in history. Madam Vice President, another inauguration day. It was the day America would witness a seismic shift in its political landscape. Kamala Harris stepped onto the stage, ready to make history. This wasn't just about breaking one glass ceiling. Nah, Kamala was about to shatter 3 at once. Picture this, the first female vice president, the first African American vice president, and the first South Asian American vice president, all in one person. That's Kamala Harris for you. She wasn't just climbing the political ladder, she was rewriting the whole damn rulebook. But Kamala, she wasn't here for the symbolism, she had work to do. As she took her oath of office, she became the highest-ranking female official in US history. That's not just a fancy title, it's a game changer. Think about it. In over 200 years of American democracy, no woman had ever reached this high. Kamala didn't just break that barrier, she obliterated it. And she did it with style, rocking a purple outfit that had everyone talking. But here's the thing about Kamala. She wasn't about to sit back and just be a symbol. Nah, she was ready to roll up her sleeves and get to work. From day one, she made it clear she was gonna be an active VP. Kamala hit the ground running. She started attending COVID-19 briefings, meeting with foreign leaders, and pushing for key legislation. This wasn't your grandpa's vice presidency. Kamala was redefining the role. And let's talk about her impact on the Senate. As VP, Kamala became the president of the Senate. That means she gets to cast tie-breaking votes when the Senate is split 50-50, and boy, did she put that power to use. In her first year alone, Kamala cast more tie-breaking votes than any other VP in a single year. She was breaking records left and right. Some of these votes were on major issues like COVID relief and appointments to key government positions. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Kamala faced challenges too. Some people questioned her qualifications, others criticized her every move. But Kamala, she kept her head high and her focus clear. She took on tough assignments too. President Biden put her in charge of addressing the root causes of migration from Central America. That's not an easy task, but Kamala dove in headfirst. Breaking records. Think the VP job is all fancy dinners and ribbon cutting? Kamala's about to prove you wrong. As vice president, she's got a unique power that's been shaking up Washington. It's called the tie-breaking vote, and Kamala, she's been using it like a pro. See, when the Senate split 50-50, it's up to the VP to cast the deciding vote. And with the current Senate makeup, Kamala's been busier than a one-armed wallpaper hanger. In her first year alone, she cast 13 tie-breaking votes. That ain't just a few, it's a record-breaking number. Let's put that in perspective. The previous record for tie-breaking votes in a single year, it was set way back in 1790 by John Adams. He cast 12 votes that year. Kamala smashed that record like it was made of glass. But it's not just about the numbers. These votes, they're on some serious stuff. We're talking big legislation that affects millions of Americans, like the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. That was Kamala's first tie-breaking rodeo, and it was a doozy. No Republicans supported it, so her vote was crucial in getting it passed. And she didn't stop there. Kamala kept racking up the tiebreakers. By her 6th month in office, she'd already cast 7 of these votes. That's more than Mike Pence cast in his entire term as VP. Talk about hitting the ground running. Now, you might be thinking, why so many tiebreakers? Well, it's all about the Senate makeup. With 50 Republicans and 50 Democrats, things are tighter than a drum. Every vote counts, and when things get deadlocked, it's Kamala time. But here's the thing about Kamala's tie-breaking spree. It ain't just about the numbers, it's about the impact. These votes are shaping America's future. From COVID relief to key government appointments, Kamala's tiebreakers are leaving their mark on history. Facing the heat, we're talking some of the worst numbers ever recorded for a vice president. But Kamala, she ain't one to back down from a fight. Let's talk numbers. Kamala's approval ratings have been bouncing around like a yo-yo, and not in a good way. They've hit some seriously low points, leaving folks wondering what's going on behind those White House doors. It's like she can't catch a break no matter what she does. But it ain't just about the numbers. Kamala's office has been seeing more turnover than a fast food joint. We're talking high-level staff jumping ship left and right. Her chief of staff, gone. Deputy chief of staff, sayonara. Even her press secretary decided to hit the road. It's like there's a revolving door installed in her office. Now, you might be thinking, what's the big deal? People leave jobs all the time. But here's the kicker. Word on the street is that it ain't just about career moves. Rumor has it that Kamala's office is tougher than a $2 steak. An anonymous source spilled the tea, saying staff members often feel mistreated by the higher-ups. Ouch. But let's be real for a second. Being VP ain't exactly a walk in the park. Kamala's dealing with some seriously complex political landscapes. Every move she makes is under a microscope, and folks are just waiting to pounce on any misstep. It's like trying to navigate a minefield while everyone's watching and taking notes. And it's not like Kamala can just brush off the criticism. These challenges are real, and they're affecting her ability to do her job. When your approval ratings are in the basement, it's hard to rally support for your initiatives. It's like trying to sell ice to Eskimos, but the ice is melting, and the Eskimos are giving you the side eye. But here's the thing about Kamala Harris. She's been breaking barriers her whole life. You think a little heat is gonna make her back down? Nah, she's made of tougher stuff than that. She's faced challenges before, and she's always come out swinging. Take her management style, for example. Yeah, it's gotten some flack, but Kamala's team ain't taking that lying down. A senior advisor came out swinging. saying the administration has been all about giving opportunities to black women. It's like Kamala's saying, "You want to criticize? Fine, but I'm going to keep doing my thing." The personal side. Her personal life might surprise you, 'cause behind the tough-as-nails prosecutor and groundbreaking VP, there's a whole other side to Kamala Harris that most folks don't see. Let's start with her love story. Kamala met her husband, Doug Emhoff, on a blind date back in 2013. Talk about a power couple. Doug's a hotshot attorney himself. They tied the knot in 2014 in Santa Barbara, California. But Kamala didn't just gain a husband, she got a whole family. Doug's got 2 kids from his previous marriage, Cole and Ella. Kamala stepped into the role of stepmom like it was meant to be. She's not just their stepmom, she's their momala. That's what the kids call her, and it's stuck. It's like Kamala's got this whole other life outside of politics, one where she's making pancakes and helping with homework. But Kamala's family connections don't stop there. Her sister Maya is a lawyer and MSNBC political analyst. And her niece, Mina, she's out there making waves too, founding the phenomenal Women Action campaign. It's like the Harris family's got public service in their DNA. Now you might think Kamala's too busy for hobbies, but you'd be wrong. She's a member of the Third Baptist Church of San Francisco. It's not just about faith for Kamala, it's about community. She's all about those connections, whether it's in Washington or back home in California. And get this, Kamala's not just writing laws, she's writing books too. She's penned 2 non-fiction books and even a children's book. It's like she's trying to inspire the next generation of leaders. Her books ain't just about politics either. They're about her life, her experiences, and the lessons she's learned along the way. But here's the thing about Kamala. She's always been about more than just her career. She's been involved with the Links, an organization that focuses on community service and advocacy. It's like she can't help but try to make a difference even when she's off the clock. Now you might be thinking, how does she do it all? Well, as of August 2019, Kamala and Doug had an estimated net worth of $5.8 million. That kind of cash certainly helps when you're juggling a high-powered career and a busy personal life. Recognition and awards. Let's start with the Thurgood Marshall Award. Back in 2005, the National Black Prosecutors Association gave Kamala this prestigious honor. It ain't just any award, it's a big deal in the legal world. It recognizes her contributions to civil rights and her role as a trailblazer in the legal field. That's right, Kamala was making waves long before she hit the national stage. But Kamala didn't stop there. She's been turning heads on the global stage too. Time magazine, they've had their eye on her for years. They named her one of the 100 most influential people in the world, not once, not twice, but 3 times. In 2013, 2020, and 2021. That's some serious staying power. And it ain't just about individual recognition. In 2020, Kamala shared the spotlight with Joe Biden when they were jointly named Times Person of the Year. That's right, Kamala was making history before she even took office. But here's the thing about Kamala. She's been on the radar of some pretty important people for a long time. Back in 2008, the New York Times was already eyeing her as a potential future president. They called her a tough fighter in the political arena. Looks like they were onto something, huh? Kamala's even breaking records in the business world. In 2021, Forbes decided to shake things up with their inaugural 50 over 50 list. It's all about recognizing entrepreneurs, leaders, and creators over the age of 50. And guess who made the cut? Yep, Kamala Harris. But these awards and recognitions, they ain't just about adding shiny trophies to her shelf. They're a reflection of Kamala's impact beyond her official roles. But Kamala, she wasn't here for the symbolism, she had work to do. As she took her oath of office, she became the highest-ranking female official in US history. That's not just a fancy title, it's a game changer, just a politician. She's a symbol of change, a champion for civil rights, and a role model for future generations. And Kamala? She ain't afraid to use her platform to make a difference. Remember when she was dealing with migration issues? She didn't mince words. She straight up told folks thinking about making that dangerous trek to the US-Mexico border, do not come, do not come. That's Kamala for you, direct and to the point. The Kamala Effect, her journey from Oakland to the White House. It's like a roadmap for anyone who's ever been told they can't make it. Think about it. Kamala's the first woman, first black person, and first South Asian American to become vice president. That's not one, not two, but three glass ceilings shattered in one go. And for millions of people, especially women and folks of color, that's huge. It's like Kamala opened a door that's been locked for centuries. Now, little girls can look at the White House and think, hey, that could be me someday. That ain't just inspiring, it's life-changing. And it's not just kids who are feeling the Kamala effect. Women in politics, they're seeing what's possible. Kamala's success is like a green light for them to aim higher, dream bigger. But here's the thing. Kamala's impact goes way beyond politics. She's changing how people think about leadership. It's like she's rewriting the rulebook on who gets to be in charge. Remember when Kamala said, "I may be the first woman to hold this office, but I won't be the last"? That wasn't just a cool line for the cameras. It was a promise to every girl out there who's ever dreamed of making a difference. And Kamala, she's keeping that promise. She's using her platform to lift up other women. She's talking about issues that matter to folks who've been left out of the conversation for too long. It's like she's saying, I'm here and I'm bringing you with me. But the Kamala effect ain't just about inspiration, it's about real change. More women are running for office, more people of color are stepping up to lead. It's like Kamala's success is creating a ripple effect across the country. And it's not just in politics. Kamala's story is inspiring folks in every field. It's like she's showing that no matter where you come from, no matter what you look like, you can make it to the top. But here's the kicker. Kamala's journey? It ain't over yet. Not by a long shot. She's already made history. But the real question is, what history will she make next? 'Cause let's be real, Kamala Harris ain't the type to rest on her laurels. She's always pushing forward, always looking for the next challenge. And with her in the White House, who knows what could happen? Maybe we'll see more women in leadership roles across the government. Maybe we'll see policies that really tackle the issues facing women and people of color. Or maybe, just maybe, we'll see Kamala herself aim for that top job.